Call to order the regular January 28th, 2013 meeting of the Robertson County Commission. I'm going to ask Dr. Proctor Chambliss, who's pastor of First Presbyterian Church in Springfield and the Milldale Presbyterian Church, to come forward, please, for our invocation. While Dr. Chambliss is coming by, I would like for us to remember Commissioner Tommy Jackson and his family and the untimely passing of his Uncle Gene. Commissioner Jackson, we are truly sorry, and your family will be remembered in our prayers. Dr. Chambliss.
Let us pray. Almighty God, creator of both justice and mercy, on an occasion such as this when we are constituted to govern over others, help us believers be mindful of the great mandates you have given to us through the Scriptures, that those who govern over others must do justice in the fear of God. Indeed, they must seek justice, love kindness, and walk humbly before God. And remember, too, that Jesus Christ said that if one is to lead, one must first be a servant. I ask your blessings upon this gathered group this night, especially those who come with particular needs. And I pray, O God, that all these deliberations will be spoken with humility, considered in great courage, and decision made without hesitation. I ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and the people of God say together, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Chambliss. There's Mr. Dunn. Commissioners, at this time, if you'll press yes and confirm you will be enrolled in the vote counter system. There being 21 commissioners present and 3 absent, I declare that we do have a quorum. Commissioners, you have the minutes from the December meeting. What's your pleasure? Have a motion by Commissioner DeOrio and a second by Commissioner Baggett that they be accepted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, so they are accepted. Under communications, if you'll turn your attention to the television to my left, Margot Fausness, our chamber director, and I were asked a couple of months ago to attend a conference at Montgomery Bell State Park, and I thought that you might find this interesting because this is talking about our comprehensive growth plan, which many of you have participated in, have knowledge of, and so this is about a 5-minute video. If you'd like to go ahead and show that at this time.
Governor Region Tomorrow is a regional concept, and the governor is promoting working in regional groups to accomplish goals for communities. But it's a planning process to try to lower the cost of infrastructure, whether it's transportation, highways, whatever it might be, but also to make sure that we conserve land, open land, green space, farmland, and that's where agriculture plays an important role in the goals and objectives of Common Region Tomorrow.
So we are a proud founding organizational member of the Tennessee Farmland Legacy Partnership, and we're committed to supporting the rural side of our region and development of the ag economy and all the issues that you all care about. The program today is going to talk about some marvelous work that's going on in Middle Tennessee, particularly in Robertson County, that's looking at growth and development issues, but also that county's priorities of maintaining and enhancing its ag economy and also its wonderful, unique rural communities.
And I think that we began gradually a decade or so ago to realize that we had a very narrow window of opportunity, that if we were going to preserve a way of life and what turned out to be by far our largest economic engine, which is agriculture, that we had better be busy about doing it. It's difficult sometimes for people to vision how things may become because they have no conception of how they might change, but things were changing rapidly. Over a period of 2 days in April of 2007, we began to see that there was a community consensus to do that. Based on, first and foremost, quality of life issues, and beyond that, beginning for the light to go off collectively for us to say, this is by far our largest industry and our most important economic engine. So the community came together. We, at that point, began to think, yes, we do need to put together a comprehensive growth plan.
We started, as Mayor Bradley said, in 2007, April of 2007. Because of our work with Cumberland Region Tomorrow and the partnerships that we had created through that, we had the opportunity to share in an AIA grant. They were celebrating their 100th anniversary, I believe, and they had a nationwide grant program. We put together a visioning workshop in Springfield over 2 days. Over 200 people participated in those workshops, and we talked about these issues that we've been mentioning.
To just ask ourselves a very fundamental question: where do we expect to be in 25 years? And what is this community going to look like, and what is it going to feel like? And I think we also saw, as our neighboring counties in the greater Nashville area were growing, in many cases at a rate faster than ourselves and a rate that threatened to overwhelm their ability to provide infrastructure, is there a way that we can find a niche for ourselves as an agricultural community? Is there a way that we can concentrate the growth that we know is inevitably coming and put it in the areas where there's already a concentration of growth, and that basically meant from Springfield south, and keep our farmland and our open space open and viable?
So as we go forward, we want to develop a plan that is uniquely Robertson, that incorporates the needs of all of our cities. We have 11 cities in the county. It's herding cats sometimes, but everybody has their own character, everybody has their own desires for the future, and we need to make sure that we're incorporating all that into the plan. We want to reflect our community values and our demographics in that, and make it a living document that will, as our county grows and changes, it will address those needs.
You know, land use and transportation and growth and development evokes a bunch of emotions, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. But again, through leadership and strategic actions as they are describing, it's possible for communities to come together to decide what they want to be and to take the steps necessary to put in a new framework for growth and development decisions that can support their community and economic development actions. So again, it's terrific to have these leaders in Middle Tennessee and Robertson County in our region to do this not only for themselves, for what they see for Robertson County, but also to inform and encourage the rest of us in our 10-county region that we can look at growth and development positively, engage all the right people, make good decisions that will inform our actions to keep Middle Tennessee prosperous, livable, and in keeping with our rural and urban characters.
I have a couple of people that we'd like to recognize now, and Miss Kathy Finley from the UT Extension Office. If you'll bring your guest down here, please. We're very proud of these two individuals. Coming up in March, there's the Tennessee Service Learning Conference and reception of the Governor's Star Awards in Franklin, and These two individuals have been nominated by people within Robertson County to receive these honors. So first of all, let me recognize Miss Beth Stodgill. And Beth? Beth has been involved in CASA for 3 years, and most of you know that's court-appointed special advocates. This group does some very, very good work for the children of this community and this community in general. And whereas Beth has served as a selfless volunteer, mentor, leader, and compassionate citizen of the county, it is the desire of the people who have been beneficiaries of her service and devotion to honor her on this special occasion. Therefore, I, Howard Bradley, as county mayor, on behalf of all the citizens of Robertson County, take great pleasure in proclaiming tomorrow, January 29th, 2013, as Beth Stodgill Day in Robertson County. Extend our congratulations on this wonderful achievement. Beth, we thank you for what you do for all of us. What you do for these children will be what you do for this world as time goes forward. So thank you very much. And this young man to my right is Ty Jackson, and Ty I was going over his resume, if you will, today, and it's too lengthy for me to mention. But Ty, you are an extraordinary young man for what you have achieved in such a short period of time. Ty has used his gift and talent of music to provide entertainment to various community functions, nursing homes, fundraising efforts such as United Way, Northcrest Hospice, Open Door Pregnancy Center, and the Senior Center in Robertson County. He also uses his sense of leadership at church by volunteering to teach children and work in the nursery, very active in 4-H, volunteering to lead club meetings, and also has a part-time job. His passion for serving is especially evident through his service to the Backpack Attack Program, Tennessee Kids Nutrition Program, and the Bread of Life Ministry. So Ty, we are very proud to send you and Beth to Franklin to represent Robertson County, and very proud for what you are doing for this community. Thank you for bringing these folks to our attention. She worked very hard. That we had a number of nominees, and people wrote letters of support for the nominees, and this was a very tough two to pick, but what you see here is the cream of the crop. So thank you all. Thank you. Last Tuesday evening at the courtroom, we held a special session of the County Commission, the first time that we've held a special session in a number of years. And for those of you who were not able to be present, and we did have a really good turnout, but for those of you who were not able to be present, the topic of the meeting was to hear a report by Mr. Jim Bruce on the Red River Preserve. And a couple of days after the meeting, I think most of you, either by email or by traditional mail, received a letter from Margot Fosnes, our Chamber Director, and Roger Blackwood, who is our Economic Development Board Chair. And at this time, the Chair would entertain a motion to make these two individuals members of the body, to talk about that letter and to answer any questions. I have a motion by Commissioner Gray and a second by Commissioner McAfee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So Roger, Margot, if you two would come up, we'll give you an opportunity to make any comments you'd like to on the letter that you sent out. And thank you both for the limitless number of hours that you are devoted to this project. So at this time, we will turn the floor over to you two.
Well, first I'd like to tell you how hard Margot has worked on this project along with everything else we do. And we've had a lot of success in the county in creating jobs. The purpose of our letter was to follow up and try to answer y'all's questions. And I guess the smart thing to do would be open it up. But one thing I'd like to tell you before we go into, in the last 10 years, our growth has been 21.8%, and Cheatham County was 8.9%. In the last year, we've had 1.2%, and they've had a negative growth in that county. The average around Nashville is 1.7%, and we're 1.2%. And the startling part that I'd like to point out is the average salary in Cheatham County is $32,940. Now, 83% of their people go out of the county to work. The average in Robertson County is 29,612. 74% of our population goes out of the county to work. The state average is 38,664. So we have got to create some high-end jobs and keep our people at home. And with that, Margot, if you'd like to.
Well, the letter we tried to summarize in a fairly short way. The work that's been done by the Robertson County Economic Development Board and the team that's been working on the Red River Preserve project over the last 3 years, and what we'd like to do next. And I know that with a few days' time thinking about the things that Mr. Bruce presented to you on Tuesday night, there may be other questions that have arisen in your mind, so we wanted to get in front of you quickly so that we could answer those questions. We've been working on this 3 years, but things are sort of coming to a head, and we'd like to make sure that it's your wishes that we move forward with this project in the manner that we've planned. I also passed out to all of you a copy of an article. Was in the beginning of this month, and it talks about Dickson County, which is a county very similar to Robertson County, and what they've been doing to get ready and attract industrial growth. It also mentions what other counties in our area have been doing. It is in no way saying that we need to do exactly what they're doing, but I think it's helpful to you all to see what our competition is and what is expected of communities in this day and age to try to attract new jobs and new business to their communities. And with that, I think we should probably just open the floor if there are any questions that have arisen or anything that we need to clarify about what was discussed.
Mr. McAfee.
Yes, I got your letter. It was very well written, very easy to understand. Only one concern I have, are there any safeguards to prevent the same thing from happening that happened up in Montgomery County with Hemlock Corporation, where they came in, a lot of money was spent to get them up and running, and before they even opened their doors, they shut everything down?
Well, we did address some of that on Tuesday night with Mr. Bruce. They haven't shut everything down. They did lay off about 3/4 of the workforce that they had in place. The situation is that they create a product, polysilica, for solar panels, which right now the market conditions are not very good for. The price of polysilica has fallen worldwide, and there are some tariff issues in place with China that have made that problem worse. The folks up in Clarksville and at Hemlock both fully believe that they will bring that plant into production. It's just a matter of how the timing of it. It's not going to happen this spring. The other thing about that is that there were safeguards in place for that as well. A lot of the incentives that were offered to Hemlock will not come into play unless they have a certain number of people employed there. So the state job tax credits, the training money, that sort of stuff is not money that will be expended. Clarksville, yes, did some site preparation for that, and Hemlock has spent $1.2 billion building a facility there. That money's in our economy already, construction workers, supplies, that sort of thing. So I think that Clarksville has probably gotten their investment back on that, and I don't think any of us believe that Hemlock is going to walk away from $1.2 billion.
I would like to add something to that. When we first started this project, it was about the time they started on the Hemlock project. And I made the statement to our board and to this commission when we came talking about cash flow funding for the next 20 years. And I made the statement, I never operated on the illusion that we would get one job as a result of Hemlock. And I said it then, and I still believe it now. I think we can have a very successful project, whether they're successful or not. I'm like Margot. I think that they're not going to walk off and leave $1.2 billion. And I think when the federal government gets the courage to set up some tariffs on what China's doing, I think that problem will be solved.
Other question? Mr. Stubblefield.
And it's also, talking about Hemlock, it's my understanding that we're not going to put all of our eggs in one basket on one corporation. We're going to have smaller sites for companies to come in, so we'll be very diversified as far as if one business shuts down, it won't kill our part.
Right. If you look over the master plan, we are looking at a very spread out. We're not talking about developing a mega site at Maxey Road. We're talking about an industrial park that will have industry, commercial, research, retail, the whole the whole gamut.
We're trying to create only high-end jobs. We've got to get our economy up, and the only way we're going to do it is invest.
Mr. Haley?
I'd like for you to discuss in a little bit more detail what he alluded to as far as we weren't looking at a mega site. We're looking at multiple people or industries going in there. As far as planning and zoning, he kind of hinted at, we might want to tweak, for lack of a better word. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if you'll just talk about that, we maybe want to create a new zone.
Exactly, that's exactly
done
what
with
we're
that.
planning to do. The master plan from the very beginning was that we would hire a planning consultant to come in and develop a new zoning district for Robertson County, something that we don't already have on the books. And that district will allow for agricultural, commercial, industrial, and retail development within the footprint of the park, as is dictated by the master plan that we adopt for the park. So if you've looked at that drawing that has the different types of development, the park will, that will be our guideline, and those will be the uses that will be acceptable in that footprint, but the exact location of those uses may vary from that footprint. So yes, we will be creating a new zoning district, and that will allow for fast tracking of zoning and permitting, so that the Planning Commission and and anything that needs to be done can be done on a quick basis.
Steve, one thing I'd like to add to that, what we will be asking for is the right, when Margot gets a request, she has to answer the next day whether we can do this, or this. If someone comes in and we've got a beautiful drawing, but if they want zoning A in where it says zoning B, we've got to have the authority to immediately say yes, or we're out of the picture, because we have all these site selectors contacting her from all over the country, and she's got to give an immediate overnight answer what we can and cannot furnish.
The zone will be one zone, and we won't be changing zoning. It'll be, we'll change the zone one time, and it will allow for those uses within that zone.
Okay, that was what my next, okay.
Questions? Commissioner Eden?
Margot and Roger, go back to the very first question, and the issue of Hemlock Semiconductor came up. And that is a giant development, and they spent a lot of money. The product they were selling sold for $270, now it sells for $15, so it's obvious what happened. But if you could reassure us that when we go through the process, you filled out the response and you do it on a timely manner, and then the prospect comes and says, what can you do for me? And I'm thinking about going to Louisville, Kentucky, or Maxey Road. And when we give some incentives, can you assure us that you're going to put enough teeth in it that if it gets half built and not finished, the incentives are off? Or if they promise 200 jobs and only deliver 100, could we put that in the original incentive?
Yes, we can.
It is a possibility. Now, that's called a clawback, and it does complicate the incentive package a little bit. There are some legal things that have to be ironed out about that, but it is possible to put those clawbacks in, that if they don't create the number of jobs. But basically, we have to remember, the only incentive our county is giving in this situation is property tax abatements, which is over a set period of time, set percentage, which goes down gradually over the period of time. So we're not talking about an upfront cash investment of our county. I think that's a protection in itself. But yes, if it is the wishes of the county commission to put in those agreements, the necessity to have a certain number of jobs in order to get that abatement, we'll look into that.
Well, like an example, Roger, and then you speak to this. We give an incentive to a prospect, and they start building their development, and they get almost through, and things go bad, and they go bankrupt. I wouldn't want the bankruptcy trustee to enjoy that abatement, during the time that they're trying to liquidate the assets.
We can handle that. And but there's one thing you have to understand, Don. If somebody's coming in there creating 100 jobs, they're not going to create 100 jobs when the door opens.
Right.
And we will have a graded increase in jobs that we will do.
Well, I just think it would be prudent to try to address some of those things right up front, not run the prospect away, but have them in there in the fine print, if you would.
Commissioner Duggar?
I want to know what the next step is. Are we heading toward a commission vote that says we proceed or we don't proceed? Or are we heading for a money vote? Or?
No, the next step for us is to try to finalize the water. We've been working on the water problem forever, and we hope within the next 30 days to solve the water problem. Once we solve the water problem, we'll be going to landowners on the option. Paralleling that, we'll come back to the commission and planning commission for zoning. We are already funded. That was done over a year ago.
2 years ago.
What we would be coming back for is to ask you to issue a general obligation bond that we will serve the debt on over the period of that time with the funds that we have available. So we will not be asking for more money. Now, at some point, the county commission may come back, or we may come back to the commission at some point, because we've got the greatest deal since sliced bread coming in, and we might come back and say, do you want to do this? And we might have to buy some land, but it's not our intention at this time. I've been told by two large developers that we had a 50-50 chance of having somebody come in and buy the entire park once we get all of our ducks in a row, and that would be the best thing as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Brown?
Now, as I read the things, originally we thought there'd be $11-12 million in the development of this function, and then per your letter, best I could write, we think that might actually drop to $7 million. So in reality, we're not going to be picking up a significantly more cost. It's not like we went from half of 11 at 5.5 to 11. We're actually most likely looking at a $7 million, basically about $1.5 million more increase, but not a doubling due to the negotiation. It actually could end up being a better deal for us.
Actually, down the trail, we'll be much better off because $16 million per year projected.
We were going to split that.
We were going to split it, now we're not splitting, but
Right.
to make y'all feel more comfortable, Margot met with Chris Tarver last week, and I had met with him over a year ago. We're getting about $29,000 in taxes on this park right now per year. That will project into $15 million if we have the same rate of increase that we've had in the Kentucky-Tennessee Park. So we've already proved this is successful. And when you can increase your tax base 550%, there's no other way to do it.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mr. Pratt, I'd like to make a
Mr. Vogel.
comment. Ms. Margot and Roger, I was at the meeting last week and left there still with some maybe questions, but the letter you sent out answered a lot of it. And maybe, the last 3 years I've heard he said, she said on water and everybody's crossed up. If y'all could keep us informed like that letter and maybe have some more meetings, boy, it'd be appreciated.
We will, Mr. Vogel, and for your information, one of the ladies at the chamber was sitting next to me, and she said that I walked 5 miles in my chair during that meeting, and one of our commissioners said that he thought that my heel was going to blow off my shoulders. I wanted to get up and explain some of this stuff, but it wasn't the right forum to do that, and that's the reason we're here tonight.
Other questions? Thank you both very much.
We have one more thing. Roger wanted me to bring this to you in the interest of keeping you informed. We have been presented with an opportunity through the Nashville Chamber for our region to go into an application to make Robertson County a foreign trade zone. Nashville has long had a foreign trade zone. Several years ago, Gallatin and Clarksville went through a process to declare 2 industrial parks in their communities as foreign trade zones. They spent upwards of $50,000 apiece to do that. Over the last couple of years, it's become more and more of an issue with companies, and I just want to read you something that says that foreign trade zones are established to expedite and encourage foreign commerce in the United States and provides companies benefits by deferring, reducing, and in many cases eliminating duties on incoming raw materials and components to companies' products and on finished products themselves that are passing through the United States on their way to a foreign market. The program also allows for greater ease in receiving overseas direct delivery and an easier and less expensive processing experience on materials as they pass through customs. The latter has become more of a selling point in a post-9/11 world. We see a lot of companies that are looking for sites asking if we are in a foreign trade zone. The Nashville Chamber has hired a consultant to come in and make an application to the Department of Commerce that operates these for any counties in the Middle Tennessee region that want to participate. It will be at a much reduced cost than what Gallatin and Clarksville had to pay. We're estimating about $20,000. One of the reasons we're going to do it is because there is talk that the government is going to stop letting new applications for foreign trade zones come before them after next year. And if we don't do it now, we may never have the chance to do it again. We've done a little bit of research. We have companies in Robertson County already that likely could benefit from this. In Gallatin, there was one company in their industrial park, which is just a small company, that saved 6 figures annually after doing the foreign trade zone application. So we believe it's something we need to do for Robertson County to position ourselves to be in the best situation for anybody that is looking to come here. The Industrial Board will be funding this project. We also are asking the Realizing Robertson's Future investors to possibly participate in this. We're on it's a fast track, and we have to answer them by February that we want to do this, but just wanted to let you know that that is something we are doing. It's going to put Robertson County in a very good position. Sumner County is doing it. Montgomery County already has one. Rutherford, Wilson, Macon, Trousdale, and Wilson counties are all doing it. So once again, you have to keep up with your neighbors. If everybody on either side of us has it and we don't, we're at a disadvantage. So we wanted to go ahead and move forward with that and keep you up to date on that.
This has been in effect since 1934, but the law previously stated you had a park within your county or whatever your jurisdiction was, and everything had to go through there. This way, the entire county, any park in the county, if you happen to locate there. And the beauty of it is, rather than having $10 million worth of product stuck in the Port of Charleston, you have it brought directly to you, and you don't pay all those tariffs until it goes back out.
Because the tariff wouldn't come to us, it would go to
No,
Washington,
right.
D.C.
Good question. Thank you both very much. Commissioners, you'll remember back in September, you adopted a resolution that dealt with the issue of unfunded mandates from the state. And what prompted this at the time was the law changed a couple of years ago about inmates that were charged with misdemeanors being the responsibility of the county as opposed to felonies, which are the responsibility of the state. And that resolution was unanimously adopted by this body, and I know that more than 20 other counties have adopted similar resolutions. Judge Glover is here tonight, and with your permission, if I can get a motion to make him a member of this body, he would like to comment on the status of that situation. And I have a motion by Commissioner Haley and a second by Commissioner Baggett. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's approved. So, Judge Glover, if you'll come forward, we'd like to hear what you have to say about that topic. Know that Representative Evans received that resolution back in September, but where the status of that situation is right now, I don't know. General Sessions Judge Burton Glover.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the County Commission and members of the audience of Robertson County. I'm here tonight to revisit the issue of this mental health evaluation that Howard has just elaborated on. This is a ticking time bomb, and the reason I'm here tonight is to let y'all know that we've just narrowly dodged a bullet here in December on another situation like we encountered last year with the lady that had to have the evaluation at Middle Tennessee Mental Health. And of course, we passed a resolution, and I don't know what the status of that resolution and what's going on exactly in the General Assembly. I would point out, and some of you may have seen this back in January, this was headline in the paper about mental health reform urged. So I know it's a universal issue throughout Tennessee, and I wanted to let y'all know that myself and Joel Perry, as assistant district attorney that works in General Sessions Court, and primarily Captain Crawford with the Robertson County Sheriff's Department. He is the gentleman that kept us as taxpayers from having to fork out another $40,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 for evaluation. And what I'm here tonight is to encourage each of you to do is to communicate with your legislators about how urgent it is. Time is of the essence, is best way I know how to describe this, because it is a ticking time bomb. And I think the best thing I can do is I would like for Captain Crawford and also Joel Perry to come up here and just elaborate a little bit and go over some of the circumstances, and let Captain Crawford elaborate to you as to exactly the hoops he jumped through in about a period of about 3 weeks or better to finally get this lady admitted into Middle Tennessee mental health for an evaluation that does not fall on the Robertson County taxpayers. So I would ask that they be made.
Have a motion to make Captain Crawford and Mr. Perry members of this body by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Gray. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So, gentlemen, if you will come forward, you are now members of the Robertson County Commission for the purpose of discussion. Captain Crawford.
Audience. What he's talking about is we had a lady come in who was very seriously mentally ill. And being mentally ill and being unintelligent are not the same thing. She has been in the system for a while, and she knows how to do what how to get out of being where you can involuntary commit her. The state has an involuntary committal. I tried that several times. I tried to go back at that. She would talk to me, she would talk to my staff members, she would talk to everybody. We knew this lady had a horrible problem. And her family is fed up. They're done. They're no help. They're not going to come see her. They're not going to bail her out. They're not going to take care of her. Her main primary family is in California. They want nothing to do with her. They shipped her out here, basically, and dumped her in Robertson County. She's our problem. She's not alone. We have about 3 of these females in our county, and they come through our jail quite a bit. So we couldn't get her involuntarily committed. So the only thing we can do is get a judicial order to commit her. Well, when we do the judicial order, we've opened the blank check. That's when we write the check, because we have to get in there. So we just have to keep working at it, going back and forth. We had her bed 3 times. They wouldn't take her. We brought her back. We couldn't just turn her loose. She was here on a legal charge, and it was 32 degrees outside. You can't kick her out. The liability issues that would befall the county would be astronomical. She may not have any family who loves her now, but when she's dead, the family is going to love her, because now we got the lawyers involved. So, and it's just not the right thing to do. You just can't throw a human being out on the street. So we tried to work with her. Finally, she got to the point where she actually said the right words to the right doctors. We could involuntary commit her over a period of 3 weeks. We run her back and forth. The man hours it took to get it done, we figured 2 officers with a mentally ill male-female officers, probably at least 30 man hours hauling her around back and forth of gasoline. I'm very fortunate that y'all let me have a psychological nurse, a psych nurse, RN, and a psychiatrist now in the jail. And so they worked with me and to get it done. She finally said the right phrases, and we were able to get the involuntary committer, get her in there. Judge and Joel were very kind, and when they got it, as soon as we got it, we could get her committed. They put her on bond. We got out from underneath the bank note, and now she becomes the state's. And it's just have to work it just exactly right to get it all taken care of. And we had it all worked out. It finally come together. But this is happening more and more, and they're coming in on the misdemeanor charges, not the felony charges so much, because the felony charges, their families are getting fed up. They can't do anything with them. They're getting caught up on primarily the smaller charges, the disorderly conducts, the different things. And when they come into jail, this particular lady liked being into jail, because now she's safe, she's secure, she's happy, nobody's bothering her, she's in a nice little room and stuff, and she's warm, and she doesn't have to worry about it, and she's not afraid of us, and she's not afraid of the cell, and she's not afraid, and she didn't really want to leave, but she had no business being in the jail, even though it was a legal charge, but it was a minor charge, and it just has to be taken care of. But with the fewer and fewer beds available, fewer and fewer state fundings, fewer help from the state, and it's all falling upon the county. And we're here in Robertson County are getting a little bit more than we need because, as you all know, the jail with our Department of Justice stuff for the last 2 years, what Clyde has talked to you about, that's why we have a psychiatrist and a psychiatric nurse, and we're becoming a mental health organization of our own, and we're a jail. So the state's going to have to step up and help us out because they have the resources. We don't have the resources locally. And Cornerstone is a great resource. They help us as much as they can, but they can only go so far. Anybody have any questions for me?
Question for Captain Crawford? Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown?
I don't know if it's for you or Judge Glover or Joel. I know we sent upstream fishing. Is there a particular language to back that up other than just talking to the legislators? Have our legislators actually crafted language other than what we've necessarily pushed? I mean, I'm just asking if there's been anything crafted.
I don't have an answer for that. I'll be going to a midwinter's judges conference in February and we'll have more insight. I guess it's the same old thing, the squeaking wheel is the one that gets greased, and I just want us to squeak as loud as we can. I think Josh Evans will be readily open to what the resolution and find out what he's been able to do, what the status is. Jonathan, we're going to try to maybe set up a meeting with him to discuss that. I don't know about our new senator. That I feel like it would be appropriate that some kind of communication go out to him to let him know that Robertson County's concerned. I don't know what it should be, maybe a letter from Howard and from the phone office or from including the sheriff or I just don't know, but it's just a...
I know. I mean, obviously, I would support what you guys are telling us, but I didn't know if there was some specific language that we needed to push through our representatives and say, hey, listen, this type of language would change the law such that...
Well, the language is, I think, in the resolution, in the fact, see, what the resolution does is returns the cost to the state of Tennessee that was passed over to Robertson County, I believe, in some 09 legislation.
Right.
And it just reverts back to the state. So that would relieve us of this misdemeanor expense to assess these ill individuals.
Thank you, Judge.
We'll see that Senator Somerville has received that resolution. I know that Representative Evans has. Commissioner Gray?
Judge, did the article that you had in the Tennessean, I believe it was, other counties having the same problem that we're having?
Commissioner Gray, I'd say that I'd say every county in the state's having it. I mean, and the bigger the county, the more often it's occurring. I can't tell you that emphatically because the resolution that we copied was from Greene County last year. So we just mimicked the Greene County. So that's a county the same size as Robertson County. So if they're having it, and I will ask that question, but I can assure you that every county's having it. Now, I don't know whether some counties such as Metro or something have some other resources that we don't have.
But it is a major problem.
Well, it is.
Yes, it is.
It's in Tennessee, and it's also the same week it was in USA Today. And if any of you know, I mean, for the last 30 years, there's been a diminished amount of dollars placed into mental health services. So it's a real issue. I mean, it's really the basis of what happened in Connecticut. That's a mental health issue. We talk about guns and everything, but it's primarily a mental health issue. So, as a judge and district attorney and a sheriff, and, we're all concerned about something like that happening right here in this county. So, that's one reason I want to come before you, just kind of let you know we are concerned and conscientious about what's going on, but, we don't have a crystal ball. Joel,
Mr. Perry, you have anything you'd like to add to this? It's Mr. Joel Perry from the District Attorney's Office.
Just briefly, and thank you for entertaining our discussion this evening. Unfortunately, from time to time, we have those in the community that are charged with crimes that have mental health issues. And if it's a felony matter, then the state will pick that up. A couple of years ago, the state changed the law, unbeknownst to many of the counties, with regard to misdemeanors. And we got caught with one of those a year back, and we wound up with some money, I think basically about $40,000 or so, that we had to pay out. To answer Commissioner Gray's question, yes, there have been other counties that have gotten similarly caught in that same situation. Fortunately, Magistrate Stark was able to negotiate with the county, with the state, and was able to get that down, and we appreciated her efforts with regard to that. But there's a balancing act in these issues. We have to look in terms of whether or not the individual is capable to stand trial. At the same time, if it's a minor charge, our office will look at whether or not it's a charge that we should prosecute. And I want to let you all know that we look at these cases very carefully. We do not just sign these orders just a matter of course and expect the county to pay that. I had one today, in fact, that came up in court. As it turns out, I looked through it, made sure it was a felony charge, and so I didn't have any problem signing it. If it had been a misdemeanor, then I would have made a determination as to whether or not this is the case we was willing to go forward with, and whether it was actually worth the effort to spend the county's money. So I want you to let you know that from a district attorney's office, we try to be cognizant of that and good stewards of the county's money.
Other questions?
Once somebody,
Mr. Haley.
I don't know if this is for Joel or Judge Glover, but let's say that someone is determined to need mental health, they commit the misdemeanor, and then it gets into the system. Who is watching out for the county so that they just don't stay there like we had the last time and just continue to snowball?
We've not had another one come up like that in the event that that were to happen, and if it stayed in General Sessions Court, it would be set on a regular review, whether it's once a week, once every 2 weeks. The problem that happened with the other case was that although it was a misdemeanor, it wound up in circuit court.
Right.
And it was not followed for whatever reason, and I don't know the answers to that. But since that happened, we've been very careful in General Sessions and now in circuit court to make sure that we are watching those.
In the situation I bring to your attention tonight, we were looking at least twice a week and probably almost daily, because we were trying to follow what Captain Crawford was able to do and not to do, and so we were very much on top of it, and would again. But still, in all, if somebody is mentally impaired and can't stand trial, that the only way that can be substantiated is through a mental evaluation.
Yes, I understand.
It's not to say at some point in time we might get back in the corner. But we're going to try to prevent that.
Commissioner Eaton.
If I could just add, as a result of the potential of this, and because we don't have the luxury of rubbing shoulders with our state senator as a result of the redistricting that we did have, Howard, if I could suggest that you do communicate with him, and I think this resolution would be a great attachment. But I think the letter needs to tell him our issue. Surely he's heard it in Dixon County. Invite him up here and let him talk to Judge Glover and an Assistant District Attorney and Tony Crawford, and make sure he understands the issue, and give him an opportunity to come up here, and I hope we can initiate that pretty quick.
We'll follow up with that. I know that as of last fall, more than 20 counties had approved the same resolution, and I think Dixon and Cheatham are two that have, but we'll make certain about that. Other questions?
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Under reports, which you should have in your packet, the first report that the chair has is from the Highway Department, 7.1. Questions or comments? 7.2 is from Animal Control. Questions or comments? 7.3 is from the Veteran Service Officer. 7.4 is the Trustee Statement of Funds. 7.5 is from EMA. 7.6 is the financial statement. 7.7 is the inmate expense report. 7.8 is report from EMS. 7.9 from solid waste. 7.10 from the Gorham McBain Public Library. 7.11 is from the Fire Service. 7.12 is from the Planning Commission. Those are all that the chair has. What's your pleasure? Have a motion by Commissioner Jones, they be received and ordered filed. A second by Commissioner Farmer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, so they are approved. We recognize now Commissioner Billy Vogel, who is chairman of the nominating committee for the January committees. As most of you know, January and September are our busier committee months, so we have committees to refill and positions to fill. Commissioner Vogel.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Clerks, fellow commissioners, and citizens of Robertson County. We met last week, the nominate committee, and we came up, if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to name them all, and then we'll vote. If I can get a second on that.
Second by Commissioner Bryant.
Okay, we're going to start with the animal control. This is a yearly committee. Term expires in January. Patsy Gregory, Steve Haley, Jonathan Gardner, Randy Wilson, and Dr. Dan Hitch. On the budget committees, also yearly, Lanny Hadcock, Bobby Couts, Kathy Spears, Billy Vogel, and James Bowens. Finance Investment, yearly committee again, Howard Bradley, Sandra Head, Faye Stubblefield, Carol Duggar, and Tommy Jackson. Finance Audit Committee, also yearly, got Irvin Brown, Dennis Wade, Buddy Bryant, Robert Farmer, Lanny Hadcock, Tommy Baggett, Don Eden, Brad Moreland, and Roger Cofelt. The Safety Committee, yearly committee again, James Bowens, Tommy Jackson, James Taylor, Laura Kindred, P.R. West, and R.L. Douglas. Agriculture Committee, this term will expire in January 2015. Joel Bernard, Randy Wilson, Dennis Roxzane, is that right, Mr. Bradley? Roxon. And Bobby Couts. The Emergency Communication Committee, Nancy Johnson's term ended in 2013. We reappointed her to stay to the year 2017. Industrial Board, these terms expired and we put them back on for 3 more years, would be Whitfield Hamilton, Don Head, and Matt Burnett. The Planning Commission, this term expires February 2017. Tommy Baggett, Bill Jones, and Larry DiOrio. Construction Board of Appeals, this is a yearly committee. We've got Matt Burnett, Steve Powell, Tracy Bear, Jerry Reynolds, and Buddy Bryant. Board of Zoning Appeals expires 2018. We got Lovell Cook has resigned off that committee, and I'd like to commend Mr. Cook for many years of service he had on that committee. That's a tough committee, and Karen Couts has taken his place. And the Health Board, all these terms expired January 2016, so it makes it a 4-year term. Dr. Scott Jordan, Dan Whitlow, Howard Bradley, Dr. Tommy Crump, Dr. Mark Pennington, Dr. Kevin Fisher, Dr. Don Sloan, Marion Worsham, and Dr. Kevin Wood.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, so they are elected. Thank you, Commissioner Vogel. Appreciate the work of the nominating committee. At this time, we'll recognize Mr. Bob Hogue from the Planning Office. We have a public hearing for rezoning. If you are here to speak in favor of or in opposition to this one rezoning resolution, we'll give you an opportunity to speak when the time comes. You'll simply state your name, and then we'll bring it back to the commission for their consideration. Mr. Hogue.
All right, we have Mr. Carl Shannon, who is requesting that 2.53 acres on Tennessee Highway 76 East be rezoned from AG2 agricultural residential to R40 single-family residential. It passed by the Planning Commission by a vote of 9-0.
Anyone here to speak to this resolution? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing at this time and bring this back to the body for this consideration. Have a motion for approval by Commissioner DiOrio and a second by Commissioner Baggett. Any discussion?
Question.
Seeing none, question's been called for. If you're in favor of this resolution, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 21 votes in favor, none opposed, and 3 absent, I declare that resolution approved. Thank you, Mr. Hogue. Now, under new resolutions, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Bowens from the Budget Committee for a budget amendment, year ending June 30, 2013. County Clerk, Mr. James Bowens.
Mayor Bradley, County Clerk, County Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you to tonight Resolution 0128-13002. Resolution amending the budget of Robertson County, Tennessee for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2013. Be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Robertson County that the budget of Robertson County for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2013 is hereby amended as follows. General Fund 101, Revenue Amendment. This is a expense amendment. County Clerk, it's a capital outlay replacing the County Clerk server. And this is the County Clerk coming from her reserve fund, her restricted fund. I move for the adoption on the 28th day of January 2013.
Have a motion, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Vogel. Any discussion? Seeing none, if you're in favor, please vote yes and confirm. If you're opposed, vote no and confirm at this time. There being 21 votes in favor, none opposed, and 3 absent, I declare that resolution adopted. Thank you, Commissioner Bowens. Any old business to come before this body? Any new business? Commissioner Gray.
Bradley, did I read somewhere that Chris Trauber was elected as tax assessor of the year?
He was chosen
If you did, I'd like
tax
to honor him.
assessor of Middle Tennessee region, I think, and I'm glad you brought that to our attention, Commissioner Gray. We are duly proud of Chris by having been selected by his peers as the Middle Tennessee assessor of the year. So thank you for reminding me of that. Anything else on the new business? On the notaries, if you'll look down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that should be Sandra Fuqua. Sandra Fuqua on Brown Road in Springfield, Fuqua. Recognize Commissioner Gray for the election of notaries.
I move that the notaries for this section of Robertson County Commission be approved.
Have a motion, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Doris. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Is there a motion to adjourn? Have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Jones and a second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We stand adjourned, and thank you very much.